welcome or welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I want to discuss something. As I work on learning binders, just finishing up this one, just think about like the impact that I'm making on mothers and just being like an inspiration, just sharing the motherhood journey, sharing the homeschooling journey, sharing educational information and the motivation information and all that stuff. Of course, when I come across something that disturbs me, I have to share it. So today I was scrolling on I was scrolling on YouTube and I came across a video, and I'll link it below, but it was basically talking about the rise in childhood speech development delays. So the video was all about how children are not pretty much talking, right? They're in schools, they're really not able to say too much because, you know, they're not getting a lot of interaction and engagement from their parents and things of that nature. So it led me to think about, okay, in the video it talks about the pandemic and how, of course, we were isolated, and children born during the pandemic are kind of lacking in terms of like speech, language, social interaction and things of that nature. But it led me to think about the video that I made on the reading crisis and how that goes hand in hand. The reading crisis has been a problem for years, right? And so from what I'm seeing based on my post on Instagram is that the speech delays has been an issue as well. And if you think about it, the speech delays leads to children who are not speaking and talking and probably cannot like pronounce different sounds and things of that nature, which will eventually lead to someone who's reading behind grade level, which will eventually lead to either low self-esteem, different behaviors that's not wanted, and things of that nature. And so it's like, are we really doing our best as parents to prepare our children? Regardless of if you plan to homeschool or not, this is not a video to get you to homeschool. This is a video that's about parenting. This is a video about being involved with your children. Like my post on Facebook was about how I know many parents who prefer, my children are in the background, who prefer to put their children in front of screens with Miss Rachel on it or whatever shows many people watch. I know Miss Rachel is very popular in the community, and I'm not discrediting her work. I'm not saying that she's not beneficial. I'm not saying any of those things. I'm naming her specifically because I know this is one of the main shows that, or YouTubers, that many parents allow their children to watch. And I'm like, yes, they're watching Miss Rachel, but are you interacting with them in that way, right? So my thing is, of course, y'all know how I feel about screen time. If you don't, I'll link a video where I talk about how I use screen time, when I started and all of that. But it's like, if you are introducing your child to screen time very, very early, might I add, are you still engaging with them? Are you still reading to them? Are you playing with them? Are you putting them in social environments to interact with other children, right? Screen time has its benefits, but for a lot of our children who have speech delays that are not like from, you know, autism or being on the spectrum or diagnosed disorders from doctors, physicians, and things of that nature, these are delays that are being seen in schools, right? These are delays that are being seen in children who would thrive if we put in the effort, the energy, and the priority to get them where they need to be. So it's like, are we doing the most? Are we doing the most that we can to make sure our children are thriving? Or are we just going with the flow? Like tablets, phones, electronics, TVs for children under the age of 4 is like so high right now. And everybody look at you crazy when I say, like, my children don't be on the phone. They don't get my phone. They don't be on a tablet more than 30 minutes, right? Sometimes they get a little more than 30 minutes, but for the most part, they're not on their tablets every day. They just recently got a tablet, maybe like, when was that, in December. So it's what, about to be February the 1st. So it's like, it's been over 2 months. They don't get on there all day. We have tons of books here, lots of toys, lots of library time, lots of park time, lots of different interactions in stores, museums, all over the place, right? Because for one, I know that the first 5 years of your child's life is the foundation, and that's for everything, right? And so while I'm not saying that we have to have our children, you know, comparing them to other kids, it's like, are we doing our best as parents? Like, I'm not going to name any figures. I'm not going to say, you know, reading or whatever case may be, but are we putting our best foot forward? It's one thing to not know how to educate our children, but it's another thing to feel like it's somebody else's job to do it. If you're sending them to the schools, it's their job to teach them how to read. It's not. Ultimately, they have to cover a curriculum, but in order to make sure your child is reading, and especially on grade level, that's your job as a parent. And it's like, you may not know how to do that, but there are resources, there are people, there are pages, there are programs, there's teachers who can give you resources on what they're using. There are a ton of free PDFs, books, and things of that nature on YouTube. And it's just like, we have to do better. A lot of these delays are advanced because parents are not parenting, and that's not okay with me. Like, there are a lot of things that I play about, I don't really play, but there are a lot of things that can get, you know, I brush off. But when it comes to children, what they're learning, what they're eating, how they're being treated, their behavior, their development, and lack thereof, yes, we can talk about it. We can talk about the hard things because somebody got to address it. We see the state of the world now where kids already can't be kids, but let alone we starting them off behind and they can't be kids. Like, we're dressing them, not me, but overall, dressing them up not age appropriately. They're acting out of their age, right? Way mature than they need to be. They're being exposed to things they don't need to see. And it's like, are we just setting them up for failure? No, this is my 2 cents. But as I said, this is why I'm like, how can I be of help? You know, I stopped doing learning by a long time ago, but I was like, you know what? This is a perfect resource for vocabulary. If your parents are not able to sit down with their children and be involved and engage in the conversation, at least they have something that they can look at where they can talk and, you know, words, right? Vegetables. Okay, let's talk about vegetables. You know, this is this, this is that, this is that. Even if you don't know how to continuously engage your child, words matter. If you think about it, like, they're watching TV all day, then it's time to go to sleep. No communication. If they're watching TV all day and it's time to eat lunch, you're not really talking to them. But there are some things that you can do, right? And so, of course, I don't want to do a video where I'm just ranting and not providing solutions. So the things that I would recommend you do in terms of speech delays. First, you can check out my video on ways to get your toddlers to talk. That's the first thing. It is not just for toddlers. This could be for preschoolers and school age children because the methods work the same. It's just, I made the video for toddlers because my son is 1, you know, and so you want to start them off on the right foot. But also, if your children are behind or you're noticing signs that they may have a delay, start implementing some of those tools too. Consider the small windows of time that you have. If you're not a stay-at-home mom, if you're not a person who's at home all the time, consider the car rides you have with your children. Consider time when you're preparing lunch, right? Or dinner or breakfast, right? Small conversation. Being intentional about what you expose them to, questions that you ask, and things of that nature. Consider allowing them to do the talking and you ask more questions to extend on the conversation, right? Asking questions for comprehension. Just putting them in a position to be able to thrive, y'all. If you are having only child, like, you have to interact with them, and you also have to put them in a position to where they're interacting with other kids. Otherwise, they won't really know how to share. They won't know how to take turns. They won't know how to do this and do that, right? So it's up to us. It's really up to us to do what we need to do as parents, and we really just have to do better. We really have to do better. Because one thing leads to the next, and what I'm not going to do is get on my platform and say it's okay for your child to be behind. It's not. Like, we have work to do. Now, all children develop at a different rate, yes. But if you're noticing signs in the very beginning and you're brushing them off because eventually my child will catch up, that's not usually the case with a lot of kids. If you start off behind, you don't just catch up like that. Someone that has to work with you, whether you're a child's teacher, put in the work, or a family member, put in the work, or you hire somebody to work with them, or you find somebody to work with them. But some way, somehow, you have to catch them up. But to make it easier on you, just, you know, find different ways to engage with them. Like, as I said, I've mentioned a few different methods, a few different solutions, and also have a few videos that I did for toddlers but it works for other children as well. So I want y'all to chime in on the topic as well. It's getting real here. The kids are at it, and I need to go to solve this. I need to go see what's going on. So let me know how y'all feel about this. I know it's not the topic everybody want to talk about, but it's needed, and this has been going on for years, so it's nothing new. It's just more so that when I found out about things, and to the extent that they are, it's like, okay, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. So drop your feedback down below, you know, whatever your experience, whatever case may be. And as always, I'll see you guys in my next video.